and welcome to another episode of the Rorschach Test Podcast. I am your host, Tyrell James. Today I got a special guest with me, Anonymous. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Hanging in there. All
Right,
right. So, so what I do here is I put up a series of Rorschach tests. I ask my guests what it is that they see, and based off of what they see, I link it to their passions and the things that they do for a living. But we're going to go a little deep though. We're going to try to peel back layers and try to figure out why you got to where you are in your
right,
life.
right.
So we're going to even go back to childhood. Okay.
Okay,
But before we get into all of that stuff, I want to just run through the list of things that you do. So number one, you are a rapper, correct?
correct.
Okay. How long you been rapping?
Man, I started rapping phew, I was like 19,
Hmm.
but seriously rapping, I say around like 24, when I released my first, album out as far as, it was an album called Analogy. I released that in the stores. I released that in FYE, Sam Goody. Back when people were going to buy CDs or whatever.
Right.
I released that independently.
Hmm.
Yeah, B&B.
Okay.
If you
Got
ever heard of B&B, that's a couple of fellas. It's me. You got SB, Wicked, Shy, a couple other fellas, Dog, Cherry Reds. The crew. A couple side, people Sleep. Um, a couple guys that lost their lives. You know what I mean? But
you. Mhm.
let's get
Yeah.
into it.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um. So okay. So the other thing that you do is you work with children,
Right.
and
Right.
you have an organization that is helping children. So tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Me and my mom started a youth organization, called Training Guild, and pretty much that was just to tap in with the youth, give back to the community. We teach them manners, etiquette, stuff that the schools don't teach them. Pay them to come to classes. They have a little graduation and get to come for free and learn at the same time. So I'm really trying to get that back going, like we had it, like me and my mom had it.
Okay.
Right.
All right. That's cool. That's something that's definitely needed too.
Yeah. And nowadays, especially nowadays, man, I
Yeah.
don't know what's wrong with these kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Too many of
It's
these
a
kids.
lot of bright ones. It's more. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah. The problem, there's too many kids that are being raised by social media and by music,
exactly.
and television
All day doing this.
and video games.
All
Yeah.
day on your
And
phone,
their
and
phone.
you're not
Yeah.
learning nothing.
Right.
You're not
Exactly.
learning nothing. You're not learning a craft. We didn't have that, so all day long we were what we were passionate about, whether it was basketball, rap. I used
Mhm.
to hoop too. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And see, they're learning to be detached from people.
right,
So when they are forced to deal with real world situations and they're forced to deal with people, they don't know how to communicate and how to interact with them because
right,
they're so used to interacting through a phone.
exactly.
So that what you're doing
Their
is
attention span is short. You could be talking to them, they'll
yeah,
drift off real fast. You
right,
watch nowadays, the kids nowadays, if you're talking to them, their attention span is probably no longer than 15 seconds long.
okay, yeah,
Right.
okay. So another thing is you were into martial arts. You've been into martial arts since you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah, I've been doing that before basketball and rap. My dad
Okay.
actually he's a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's really the one with them hands,
Hmm.
But I know a little something, something.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna get into all of that stuff though.
Right.
So we're gonna start with three of the pictures. Now, I've already sent you three of the pictures. You told me exactly what you saw on these pictures. After we do those three pictures, it's going to be a surprise picture. It's going to be a picture that you've never seen,
Okay.
and I want to put that up, and I want you to tell me exactly how what you feel or what you see with that picture. Now, I'm gonna tell you something that's different with this particular episode. What you've done is something that I don't remember any of my other guests doing. What you have done is you looked at these pictures and you told me how each one of these pictures made you feel
Right.
rather than what you saw. Now, it was based off of what you saw, but it was a direct connection to how it made you feel.
Right.
And that actually works out perfectly for me because when I first came up with the idea to do this show, that's where I wanted to go with this. I
Right.
wanted people
Because
to look at.
nowadays you can't go off of how you feel, because that would be somebody cutting you off in traffic, the middle finger goes up. That's
Hmm.
how you feel. Now what you saw is really the truth. So you should
Hmm.
be reacting off of truth, not, how you feel.
Well,
Like
I
we
would.
didn't feel like doing this today, probably. Like we could be doing anything else. So this is something, now you gave your word, you should abide by your word.
Well, see, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, only because
Uh-huh.
what we feel oftentimes motivates us or drives us or leads us to where we are going.
True. And that's a fact.
And yeah, and what we
That's
feel,
true.
we are all inclined and we have the right to feel anything that we feel.
True.
Nobody can ever tell you that you're wrong for
I
feeling what
agree with that. I agree.
but the fact that you told me based off of what you see and you made the connection to what you feel, like this just made this perfect. It made it perfect. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and get into one of these Rorschach tests. Okay. So with this one, this particular picture, you said that you saw balance. It made you think about balance.
Right.
What about this picture made you think about balance?
You see how you got the little piece at the bottom, and there's another piece that reflecting what's at the bottom, even at the top. It's like if you look over to the left, you can see what's over to the right. So it's like a balance. The thing at the top is in the bottom. What's at the top is at the bottom. So that reminds me of, the struggle. You got to
Hmm.
have balance to get out of struggle. But if you're not reflecting, you're not going to be able to see what is needed to get out of the struggle.
Okay, got you. All right. So when I hear balance, when you first told me balance, the first thing that comes to my mind is remaining upright, remaining steady,
And
clarity.
what's even almost stopped time when you were trying to balance the laptop. Balance.
Hmm.
Balance stopped us from proceeding. So it's important to you too.
Right, right, exactly. Now, here's the thing: they don't know about what happened with the laptop because we weren't recording at that time.
Okay,
Yes.
so what happened was we didn't start because he couldn't balance it the right way. All right, if
Right.
my head's like this, you know, I'm not gonna feel right. I have to be in the center.
Hmm.
You have to feel
Right.
centered.
Exactly. Exactly.
Your
So,
love life. If it's no balance, it's no love life.
mhm. So
Is he
speaking
treating me
of,
the way I'm treating him? Is she treating me vice versa? You know,
uh so speaking of being centered, so let's go to martial arts. So, how has martial arts been able to keep you balanced and to keep you centered?
because you think about all the fights you've been in, and you think about why did we even fight, or
Hmm.
was I right? Were they right? Was I wrong? You're trying to find balance on what really happened. Now, as you get older, you're like, okay, how can I stop this before we fight?
Hmm.
How can I? You're trying to rationalize it yourself in your head before you actually start throwing hands. So
Right.
as a man, I like that balance. I like that challenge than actually throwing hands with you.
Hmm.
Can we sit down as men and stop fighting before we fight?
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm. Right.
can you
And
can you control your emotions? Can you, if you can't master yourself, you can't master nothing outside yourself.
right.
Do you know yourself to the pinpoint? Do you know, can you control your emotions? If you can't control your emotions, you have no balance. You're not centered. So you don't
Hmm.
have you don't have the authority to even talk to me if you
Hmm. Right. True. Absolutely. So
can't.
tell me this. Um, it takes so the thing is, it takes a while for you to be able to get to that point in your life. So tell me about a time when you weren't so balanced, and what was it that caused you to
Okay,
get
now,
focused on being balanced?
all right, I got a funny story. All right, we were on a block one day, right? And
Hmm.
I don't do no names, I don't drop no names. They'll know who, if they see this, they'll know. So we used to play a game called whoever we see, the first person we see, you gotta knock them out. The first
Okay.
person that walks past here, you gotta knock them out. If
That
you don't knock
that
them
game,
out,
knockout, right?
right,
That's what it's called. Okay.
bad, knockout king. If you
Right.
don't knock them out, you don't win.
Okay.
We used to play that. And so, I got older and I'm like, man, what are we doing? Man, you hit clientele, man. You running away at the clientele, them people coming up.
Hmm.
So little dumb things that we used to do, throwing eggs at people's house,
Hmm.
stupid shit, pranking people,
Right.
knocking on their door and running. You know what we used to call that, right? Little dumb stuff that we used to do that makes no sense. But
Hmm.
then when you get older, everything is kind of like portrayed as a game. Even in America, it's sort of like a game. As soon as you
Hmm.
wake up, what do? You getting ready for what?
Ready for
Work
work.
or whatever you do.
It's getting your
And
day
and
started.
and if you wake up and you just go look at the traffic, you can look at a lot of blind. You can see a lot of blind people
Hmm.
just moving, just doing, playing the game.
Hmm.
So now that I'm older, I'm playing my game. I'm
Right.
not playing their game.
Right. But it had to
I am
take
simultaneously as I play my game, but
uh,
the game that I'm playing now is it's a little different.
so it took some time to get to that point though. You had to endure some things. You had to go through some experiences and you had to go through a maturation process um
Right.
to reach that point of balance.
Right.
And but martial arts was also able to help you to get to that. So at what age did you get
Martial arts
involved in
made it
martial
worse
arts?
because when I learned that, I'm like, man, I know, he know karate. Don't mess with him. You think that you on the top until you catch that L, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, it is somebody out there better than me. They don't even
Right.
know martial arts, but I know martial arts. So why take an L?
Right.
You took an L
Yeah.
because you had no balance. You
How old were
fighting
you
for the
when you
wrong
started?
reasons. You're doing things for the wrong reasons, huh?
How old were you when you started?
When you get locked up, like all this stuff, when you're getting locked up, and those are not the things that you want to get out of that.
No,
You don't
no.
want to beat
I
him
mean,
up for you to
how
go to
old were
jail.
you? How old were you when you started martial
Oh, we were
arts?
like 17, 18 years old.
Okay. Okay. So
You
you
know,
said you got locked up. Was that around the age that you got locked up?
well, the first time I got locked up, it wasn't for fighting. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I was just trying to make an example, make a point of what I was saying.
Okay. All right, got you. So I'm just trying to make the connection, trying to see is
Right.
if I'm trying to see if martial arts was one of the things that helped pull you away from making the decisions that you were making that got you locked up.
Actually, getting locked up helped me more than martial arts
Hmm. Tell me about that.
because once you start getting locked up, everybody knows that second time hurts, hurts. The first time is, man, what is this?
Hmm.
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. But I keep that down to a minimum. See, that's
Yeah.
having balance. That's having being centered, learning how to control what you say out your mouth.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Okay, so you get locked up the first time.
Hmm.
You're like, man, what is this? The second, then you say the first time, I'm never coming back to this.
Right.
And what happens the second time when you sitting there? Some
Hmm.
tears start coming down. Man, I said I would never come back here. Why am I here?
Right.
You trying to find reasoning of what's going on.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
actually getting locked up helped me more than martial arts.
Right. I've heard that story often. That
And I
I've
could be
heard people.
wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, you probably aren't wrong. I've heard people say that jail has saved their life. They
Yeah.
went in.
You learn a lot. You learn a lot in jail.
Yeah, but one of the things that you learned, I think the biggest lesson that you learn is I don't want to be here.
Right.
So let me
Well,
stop doing the things
exactly.
that got me here.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. It's made for you not to like it's made for you to hate it. So you don't
Right.
come back.
Hmm.
So they knew what they were doing when they made jail and prisons and all that.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. There's also a deeper, darker agenda too, but we'll get into that another time. But it's that there's an agenda at play there. But okay, man. All right, I want to go move on to another picture here. So let's get to this picture. All right. When you saw this picture, you said you saw a reflection.
Right.
So what about this made you see a reflection? And what did you feel when you saw that
It looks
reflection?
like an angry guy in the middle looking into something, and then I see all the other pieces that the left side reflects the right side. So I'm like, okay, reflection. I said reflection. So just like how I write rhymes, like I come up with a concept, whatever the beat makes me feel like writing, and then I just run with it.
Hmm.
So I just ran with it, reflection. Looks like
Okay.
an angry guy in the middle, and he's looking in the mirror.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to look that way every day. It could look like this, but it's the same person on the left and the right.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay. So all right, let's stick with that word reflection. When you were a
Okay.
kid,
Uh huh.
so when I hear reflection, I think about just seeing yourself.
Right.
Then you said you saw like an angry. It looks like an angry face in the middle. So when you
And
were,
you know what? You need that anger as you come up. You just have to direct it into the right avenues. You have to direct it the right way.
hmm
You know, get angry at the wrong the people. People are, you know, look, man, you pull your pants up off your ass. Get angry at the stuff that is blocking us from proceeding to be successful. Get angry at that type of stuff. Get angry at your community because you know y'all you want everybody to make it out. You want to make it out. Don't
hmm
get angry at the guy that's successful.
hmm
That's the guy that might can help you out. Don't
right,
get angry because he has all the nice things. Get
yeah,
angry because you don't have it, and then you can obtain it.
hmm yeah. Anger does spark change.
Right.
So yeah. You're absolutely
So
right.
all those things are needed. It just has to be directed into the right avenue.
Right, yeah. You just have to know what to do with that anger.
Right.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so all right, let's go back to childhood. When you were and dealing with this reflection, where did you see yourself going when you were a kid?
To the NBA.
Okay.
Straight to the NBA.
hmm So what derailed that?
What derailed that was lack of knowledge. Lack of
So,
knowledge. Not knowing how much you need on the SATs. Not knowing how much work you really need to put in to be
uh-huh.
a college player. Not knowing the people that you need to come to see you perform at these games to even give you a chance. So
hmm
lack of knowledge,
Okay.
lack
All
of
right.
knowledge. I was nice. It
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of people that were better than me, but I was I did a little something.
Okay.
You know.
So when you were younger, without giving away too much information,
Uh huh.
without saying anything incriminating, at what age did you start doing things that could possibly land you in jail?
Ooh,
And you can just give me the age. You don't have to expound on this because I'm going somewhere else with this.
I would say my 30s. I
You said,
noticed. I've noticed when I got into my 30s,
mm-hmm.
I really stopped getting locked up. I might get locked up for something like, oh, you had a brake light. Oh, you didn't know you had a KBS. Oh, you had to go pay this fine. Something like that, but not for no drugs or you know what I mean? I
Well,
stopped
no,
doing I stopped doing stuff.
no, not when did it stop? When did you start doing things that will get you locked up?
Oh man. I would say around 7 or 8.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, about
So,
7 or 8.
right now you have this
I was wild,
organization.
man. I grew up in California. I grew up
Okay.
in California.
Uh-huh.
It was gang banging. I grew up around the gangsters. The gangsters raised the youngins.
What
You
part of
know,
Cali? Where in Cali?
I grew up in Oceanside,
Uh-huh.
Vista, Escondido, a little bit of LA here and there, in and out.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
never actually resided in the LA area like as if in Oceanside, Vista. I could tell you all about, the Carlsbad Mall, Fox Hills Mall. That's in
Mhm.
LA.
Right.
The Compton Flea Market. You might run into Ice Cube back in the day. Easy E. Matter of fact, Easy E bought my first Raider coat. My mom
Oh,
came
really?
in, had a little picture saying "Stay in school."
Hmm.
Had a little Raider coat with my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Easy E.
Hey, yeah, definitely, man. He's one of our greats, man.
Yeah.
Um, But so you have this organization where you're helping children. So this
Right.
still dealing with this reflection thing. Do you help these kids because you see yourself in these children and you're trying to prevent them from making the same decisions that you made?
You know what? And you know what's crazy? You asked that, right? Some days it's like I could see what could be benefited off of it more than they can,
Hmm.
and I see myself benefiting sometimes more than the kids because they don't see, like I didn't see when my mom came to me, I didn't see what she was seeing.
Hmm.
So you know, I might make a couple dollars off of it, or I might make an opportunity off of it, and then they're like, okay, you play your part, I play my part, but it's you kind of that's reflection. You got to see what the other person is seeing, so you can
Hmm.
benefit off of it.
Okay.
And
Got
the kids nowadays, you know, man, try to get 15 young kids in a building at the same time to be there at 3 o'clock. See how that works out for you.
it. Hmm.
Yeah,
With all
you might
these
have to pay them.
distractions.
You might have to pay them,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you lower them in, then they see what's going on, what can be learned. The parents have to push them,
Right.
but what's going on nowadays,
Hmm. Yeah. And they have to want it for themselves as well. And
right?
hopefully,
And that that, that kind of gets discouraging, but you got to keep pushing,
yeah,
man.
it is discouraging because there's so many outside influences that sound so much cooler than us and us trying to be influential because we're talking about the positive things and the positive changes. And to them, that doesn't look cool. It's not fun.
Right,
So it's very difficult and it's hard, because of course, if we talk to children, we are speaking in hindsight about the things that we've gone through and then talking about the place that we have essentially arrived. But they don't know that. All they know is where they are.
right,
And they can't see. And then there's also this disconnect because of the age gap. They
right.
don't understand when they're talking to an OG, especially these kids these days. They don't understand when they're talking to an OG.
I
The
was walking with my young boy the other day. I ran
Mhm,
into one of my old homeboys. He was like,
mhm.
he don't even know who he with. He don't even know who he with. And I'm like, nah, he don't know who he with.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
they,
was the
they don't
sign for him to
understand.
start asking questions. Why they don't ask enough questions? All
Hmm.
their questions. Can I play the game? Can I get my phone back so I can get
Right.
on social media? It's all directed to that.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on social media?
Hmm.
You know?
It's unfortunately, we're at a time right now where everybody wants attention,
Right.
and social media provides that attention, whether good or bad. But it I always say that the internet is the best and worst thing that has ever happened to the world.
Oh my God.
Um, there are
It's
a
like
lot of
it's like
great things about it,
the
but there
gift
are a
and the
lot of
curse.
awful things.
A gift
Yeah,
and the curse.
yeah, it's back to that balance. Back to that
Right.
balance. It's there's definitely that balance of good and bad, and
Right.
uh, too often that balance, I mean that bad part tips the scales,
Yes.
and that's essentially with your movement. What you're trying to do is trying to balance that, trying to
Right.
balance that back out, trying to. Well, no, actually, you're not trying to balance it out because you want to tip the scales, but just in the opposite direction. You
Right.
want, the better part of that scale to be tipped. So I get it. Now, you also are one of the perfect people to do that, seeing as how you've been in the streets, you've been in jail, you've changed your life,
Right.
and now you're doing things in a positive way. It's easier for them to connect with you and to
Right.
resonate
I've
with
been
you
there. Right.
because you're able to speak their language, you're able to understand them and meet them where they are.
Right.
Even though there's a disconnect because of the age, and they may say,
Right.
"Oh man, you out of touch," but
Oh, you're
no,
old head.
not
Yeah,
that.
right, 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 right,
Yeah,
right,
because the thing is, the saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You
right.
know, it doesn't
True.
matter how much things change. Technology, just times. It does not matter how much it changes. The drug game will always lead you to the same place
Yes.
every single time.
Yes.
So,
And sometimes it led me to enter. like interesting people, man. Like I
Mhm.
met a lot of interesting people through the drug game. Like, man, you know what you're doing right now, and you could be this or that. We don't have to be doing this, but who's walking along the whole time saying let's not do what we're doing?
Right. Hmm.
You know, I'm trying to pull you out, but we're here. We're supposed to make this delivery, but I'm trying to pull you out. You're
Hmm.
not gonna want me around.
Right. Yeah. And that's the good thing about coming up with OGs, because the OGs, even though they may be doing the things that are wrong,
They'll tell you the truth.
they'll tell you the truth, and they'll tell you, no, this ain't for you. Like Easy E gave you game. Easy E told you stay in school.
Man, shout out
Easy
to my
E.
old head, man, my old head Nink, man. My old head. It don't matter what we're doing.
Hmm.
If it's not right, and I met him through my dad. They
Uh-huh.
grew up together.
Okay.
He gonna tell me,
Right.
nephew, you know we ain't gonna be doing this shit, nephew.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to hear that, man. Push this up, you know what I mean? Let's do what
Yeah.
we supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And then he'll give me that look. Boy, you just like your dad. You know. And it's
So,
a blessing for him to get to chill with my dad and then get to chill with me the same type of way.
right. Yeah. So let's still deal with this reflection,
Okay.
but I want to deal with self-reflection and how it led you to the place where you are musically.
Ooh.
So just in the decisions that you've made, and when you sat down and you had to be honest with yourself, you had to look yourself in the mirror and reflect on the things that you have done and the things and the place that it could essentially lead you.
Right.
What made you say, it's time to stop doing this? Let me put all of the energy that I'm putting into the streets into my music.
Okay. Man, I was like, ooh, I would say, that's not too long ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, I started really thinking like that. Like,
Hmm.
okay, we have an opportunity to take all the bad things, ball it up, and put out what we want.
Hmm.
And because you have the people, a real street nigga will know if another street person is rapping and really lived it by what they're saying, the
Hmm.
topics, the wordplay, the energy, the feeling that you get when you hear it.
Right.
Like when I listen to somebody, I could tell if they really did it or not. You can't
Mhm.
fake me out with that one.
Right.
And I could tell if somebody, maybe somebody wrote it for you, maybe they didn't, maybe they did, but I could tell if whoever wrote that, you could tell they've been through it because of
Hmm.
what they're saying.
Right.
Somebody that been through that, they would have to you would have to experience that to write that down
Right.
the way that you're putting it.
Hmm.
And I like to write a lot of stuff that I've done. I'm a writer, so why not? And I like to drift off a little bit, give you a little bit of imagination,
Right.
but
Right.
I stay on reality.
Hmm.
Reality hits you harder. That gives you the chills up the spine feeling.
It does. It
Oh,
does.
you play ball too? Oh, you do this too? We could go do that together. That's that feeling that's priceless.
Right. Yeah, and it makes it relatable. It
Right,
makes the listener able to connect with you.
right.
And that's important, especially when you're talking about music, because you're trying to make music for millions of people that you will never come in contact with. But what you're trying to do is build a relationship with millions of people that you will never ever come in contact with. But you need to make these people feel as if they know you.
You want to hear
And
a crazy? You want to hear a crazy story? Speaking
Mhm.
of music, go to YouTube and check out Anonymous Living Existing. Living without the G, existing without the G. Tap into that. Listen to that story and tell me if I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, please go listen to that story. 'Cause when I tell y'all this is
That
some
song is crazy.
it
Well,
is
how
some
many views did I get? How many? Where we at? Like 8,800. What we got? Like 8,000 views in 3 days.
yeah,
That's
yeah, I was
because
gonna
it's
say that's more.
relatable. It's
Mhm.
relatable. People can tap into it. They like.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to hear that. So then you know, let me tell somebody else about this.
Yeah.
And it's a spiral. It's a big like this video, like this interview is going to do
Hmm.
when I
Yeah.
get my hands on it.
People love things that can resonate with them.
Right.
When they feel as though they can connect to an artist or to an actor or to a painter or to a dancer or to, whatever, when we're talking about the arts, when people feel as though they can connect to that person that's performing that art, it makes a world of difference. And that's how
Right.
you establish relationships as an artist.
Right.
That's why people are able to feel as though they know somebody. I've never even met them.
Right.
Like,
And being that you said that, I want
mhm,
to give shout outs to everybody on internet that is doing it to actually make a change for the good, man. There's a
right,
lot of good people out there that I can feel them, and they really affect me too. I'm like, I'm up here watching YouTube all day. I want to see the next video. I want to see the next video. What you
mhm,
got next? If it's for the good, I'm all for it, man.
right, yeah,
You're gonna have me sitting up there all day looking at nothing.
hmm,
And if you choose to do that, like, come on, man.
hmm,
Now you need that. Now you need to spank. You need somebody to spank you, man. Get up and go do something, man.
right, yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Sometimes you gotta spank yourself.
yeah, man.
That's
Self
self
motivation
reflection.
is hard, but it's needed.
Yeah, can you look yourself in the mirror and be real with yourself?
Hmm,
Man, I need to stop doing this. I need to stop doing that.
hmm,
But are you gonna stop?
right, absolutely. Okay, all right, man. I'll tell you what. Let's go to this next picture. So this was the other one you said you saw, and you said this one made you feel or think about escaping. What
Right.
about this picture made you think about escaping?
You see the head in the middle, and you
Hmm,
see this avenue as if it's sort of like birth, you know, like a rebirth. Like you could go up and be reborn, or you can
hmm,
stay down and feel like you're trapped.
hmm,
It feels like this picture, her head's like stuck right there. But if she goes up, it feels like some kind of escape.
hmm.
Now she doesn't have these things blocking her at the bottom. And I'm saying her because it looks like a female.
Right, right. Yeah, it does. It does. Okay. All right. So when you said escape, first thing comes to my mind is fear, feeling trapped.
Right.
So tell me, as a kid, like, what were your fears as a kid?
Fears as a kid, growing up, because
Yeah.
I seen my mom, my stepdad, even my father, like I seen them struggle.
Hmm,
Who wants to grow up to go through that?
hmm.
That's not fun.
Right.
You complaining every day, clean this up. We're not doing what you saying we're not making you happy. Who wants to grow up to do that?
Right.
You look miserable every day.
Hmm,
Which is not saying my mom and my dad are, they're beautiful people. Like I have a beautiful family. But
hmm.
as a kid growing up, you're looking at this adult yelling at you that you're never good enough, you know, for the kids out there that feel like that. They're doing that because they want you to grow up, be a better person.
Hmm.
You have to grow some skin, man. Just because somebody tell you something doesn't mean they hate you. They just want you to do better. That's all.
So would you say you had a fear of failure?
Growing up, who wants to do that? Who wants to grow up to do? We running around all day. We don't have a care in the world. We're not paying no bills.
Hmm,
And I was getting money at a young age. So
hmm.
who wants to grow up to do that?
Right.
You want
Right.
to feel free all your life. Like you want to feel like no, I can do whatever I want today.
Well, I said fear of failure because you were speaking about your parents and your parents telling you to do certain things. So um, if you don't do the things that they have, parents, they have certain expectations of us, and if we don't meet these expectations, then essentially there is this fear that comes with not meeting those expectations, and maybe at the time we don't see it as fear of failure, but after you get older and you're able to look back in hindsight, do you think that that's what it was? It was a fear that the fear of disappointing your parents was ultimately
Oh,
failure.
definitely, man, definitely. You always want to make your parents happy.
Hmm,
You know, you want to make them happy. You want dad to. That's my son. That's my boy right there. That's my
right.
boy. That's my son. You want that feeling. That's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It
You
is.
don't
It's a
want your parents like, look at him. You're gonna be like your uncle. You know, you
Mhm.
know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. The validation from your parents means the world, and
right,
it's for a lot of kids and even adults, it has made or break or broken them. Because these are the first two people that you seek validation from.
right.
And but if they're in your corner, like for instance, for me, man, my parents were always in my corner, and to this day,
Man,
my father
mine
passed
too.
in
So
2000.
shout out to my parents, man.
Yeah,
My
definitely.
dad, my mom,
Uh-huh.
salute.
Yeah, even to this day, man, my mother is still now my father passed in 2013, but
Sorry to
um
hear that, man.
yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. But even up until the time he passed, man, he was always supportive. My mother's always been my biggest cheerleader. So it
Right.
has
Yeah,
that has definitely helped.
mom's beautiful, man. I have a
Um,
beautiful mom. I have a beautiful mom.
yeah, you know
Yeah.
what, man? When you told me that was actually, it's funny you said that because that was the very first thought that I had about her when you told me that she started the two of you all started this organization to help
Right.
children.
Training
And
guild. Yeah. Training guild. Yes.
yeah, I think about the type of heart that you have to do that.
Right. Yes.
Because that's a
Actually,
lot of
it was her. It
dedication.
was more of her pushing it on me.
Hmm.
Like, you need to, I'm writing rhymes for the streets. No, no, you need to do it for the youth. You need to do it for the kids. I'm telling you, Mike, do this. And I'm not seeing her vision.
Hmm.
Then when I do it, I
Hmm.
see what came, and I see what she's talking about. So
Right.
shout
Yeah.
out to the moms out there that want to do better for, you and yours.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. So tell me now, what are your fears now, as an
My
adult?
fears now is getting too big.
Getting too big. You mean
Getting
successful?
too big where I lose my soul.
Okay. Okay.
I,
Now,
I can see that. I can see that happening.
okay, that's interesting. Let's go deeper with that. All right. So when you say that, do you mean getting to the point where, they say a lot of times with people who become successful, you have to do some things to get there. You have to do some immoral things to reach
Right.
a certain level of success. Is that
Right.
what you're afraid of?
No, I'm not afraid of that. It's just like, you know, who wants to do that? Who wants to get so big that you don't even know who you are anymore? When you look
Mhm.
in that mirror, that reflection thing is gone.
So the fear is more so losing sight of
You ever
reality.
look at somebody and you can tell that they're empty?
Uh-huh. Okay.
There's no life there.
Losing yourself, losing not no longer being grounded,
I'll
losing
give
sight
you an
of
example.
reality.
You walking into Lowe's, right?
Hmm.
The people, hey man, it's a nice day today, man. You need to get out, enjoy the day, man. Full of life. And then that person walking past, looking at the ground, and you might even speak to them, and they don't even hear you.
Right.
They're gone.
Hmm.
Their mind is somewhere else.
Right.
Picture being like that every day, where you're gone.
Hmm.
People talking to you, you're not receptive,
Right.
but
Yeah, because
nothing matters no more.
you're just in a different place. Um, that's a painful existence.
Yeah, that would be a tragedy.
Hmm. So yeah, I guess so. Then your biggest fear is losing yourself.
Yeah, because that's all you have.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And that goes back to that reflection and that balance. You don't want to lose balance, and you don't
Right.
want to.
As
You
bad
don't
as
want
you want the
to.
money,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh, I don't gotta pay no bills today. Hey, y'all just gotta pay the, the money. Yeah, but
Yeah, and you
eh,
got to be careful with what money causes you to do. But,
exactly.
you got to be careful before and after money.
Right,
Meaning, you have to be careful about the things that you do to get it, and then you got to be careful about the things that you do when you have it.
right, right,
Yeah, yeah. It could lead you down a very bad and immoral road, dead end. It
right,
will lead to a dead end at times. So yeah, that's understandable. But you know what though? I think that that's huge for you to say because people are so focused on just getting the money and
right,
throwing morals out the window.
right. Nah, I'd have been in a lot of dark places where that reflection got me out of it.
Hmm.
The money didn't get me out of it.
Right. That
So what
self-reflection.
is money?
Right. It's just a tool. It's just an
Yeah.
instrument.
When you
That's
look at
it.
yourself in that mirror
Mhm.
and we're speaking on reflection,
Yeah.
money, what is The only thing about money is you might have a chain on your neck that's reflecting you
Hmm.
bought that with money, but that doesn't help you out of situations.
Right. And unfortunately, we need it, but
Yes, yes, it's a necessity.
yeah, but because it's so much of a necessity and because of the things that you can do with it, it just leads people, like the Bible says. I don't know if if you believe in the Bible or even certain things in the Bible, but
Sure.
one thing that I definitely believe
You
from
better
the Bible,
respect it. You better respect it.
yeah, but one thing I definitely believe is that it says the love of money is the root of all evil.
I
And
believe that.
I believe that
I
100%.
believe that 100%.
100%.
I can
Um,
see people as soon as that money hits her hand.
mhm,
I can see. Oh man, I can see if you had 100,000, what you would do.
right.
If you had,
Yeah.
including me,
Mhm,
including me.
right, yeah.
Inclu-
And
I'm
and
not.
it,
I'm not exempt. Give me
right.
100 grand right now and see what I do with it. I better be on point. I better be balanced.
Mhm,
All those things we just talked about. You better
right.
be there.
You have to
But
make
we're gonna
sure
see
that
how fast that dwindles away.
yeah, you have that self-reflection. And then there's certain environments that you need to escape. And speaking of which,
True.
tell me this. Did you come up in an environment that you felt that you needed to escape?
California. Woo.
How was that? How
Gang
was it growing
back.
up in
Okay. I don't know how the gang banging is there now, but back then,
California?
gang banging back then, oh my God, it was serious.
Hmm.
I'm walking my little sister to school. You know, it's serious, man. It's very, very serious. It was serious. That's
Hmm.
something you want to, like people in California, I can imagine how many people want to escape gang banging.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. It's you
Hold
hear
on one
about
second.
um, the age at which
So
um
yeah, gang banging, excuse me for that. Gang banging,
the-
oh my God.
and the thing
You
is
can
about
talk to
gang
somebody
banging,
from California and they'll tell you what I'm talking about.
right? Well, see, the thing is about gang banging. A lot of people, they come into gangs when they are not even teenagers yet.
They had no awareness.
Yeah, or they're like young, but they do it for survival. They do it for
That
survival. Like I
that's
hear
the
people,
first thing you have to pick a side.
yeah,
You're gonna be with
exactly.
them or you're gonna be with them.
Right. Yeah. And then sometimes it's because look, I grew up in a Crip neighborhood or in a blood neighborhood. So by association, because this is where I am. So this is what I become. And unfortunately, there's so many people, so many kids that have lost their lives just because they grew up in a neighborhood that they felt as though they had to, just by association, they had to gangbang. I have a lot of friends that are Bloods, Crips, GDs. I had one of my homeboys was BMF. Just yeah, every MS-13s, like,
Right.
and they all joined except for my homeboy that was part of BMF. I don't know the entire story. I don't ask questions.
Right.
But with the rest of them, everybody else, they would tell me they were teenagers, they were young teens when they joined the gangs, and some of them even younger than teenagers when they joined the gangs.
Right.
And it's like if you join a gang in your 20s or your 30s, especially your 30s and up, it's like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
it's like
You know?
it's all about being accepted.
Yeah, yeah. But
Right.
but on the one hand, I can understand. I can understand when you grow up in that environment.
So gang banging is definitely number one for escaping.
Hmm. Yeah, but like when you're in that environment, I can understand the when that's all that you see and you become a product of your environment, especially if your parents were involved in it, your big brothers, your uncles, everybody, your aunts. When you see the people around you that are involved in it, it's easy to fall into that, especially when you know that you may have to go into a territory that
Right.
is enemy territory. You got to have somebody behind you. There's a mindset that needs to change.
Right.
There's a lot, which is why I really appreciate what you're doing with the youth,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that mindset really needs to change, and we got to get these kids now. We
Right.
got to get them now because things are just getting worse and
Right.
things are out of hand. and there's not even a respect for the OGs, which is why I love what you're
Hold on
doing.
one second,
You
bro.
got that respect. Sure. Now, normally I'm gonna keep on talking. I don't know if you can hear me in that, but I'm gonna keep on talking because we never had nobody just get up and walk off
I'm
and
sorry, man. I'm sorry. Can you edit that out, man?
you
I'm
good,
sorry,
man.
man.
Nah, you good. You good. Don't worry about it, man. But I just wanted to keep talking because I don't want any dead air on the show, man. You good. Don't worry about it. Um, but um, the
I told you what we got to do.
with this
Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
okay, all right. This is interesting. We've never had this happen before. Um,
Sorry about that, bro.
nah, you go, man. So tell me this: with this organization that you have with these kids, you trying to save them from the same environment that you felt trapped in?
Sorry about that, man.
Nah, you good. You good, man.
Say that again.
I said, when are you with this organization that you have? Are you trying to save children from the same environment that you felt trapped in?
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
She has life happens, even though I'm still doing an interview, my
Hmm.
life is still happening.
Right. Yeah.
Gotta stay balanced.
Yeah.
So I apologize for just getting up.
Nah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
Nobody, you said you never had nobody do that.
Nah.
And you know what? For TV, I'm glad that happened, man. You know what? And I apologize to you. That's two brothers, one know that he did something wrong. I
Uh,
apologize.
and that's big. That is huge. Because us as men, especially black men, we've got to get to a point where we're able to put our pride to the side.
Exactly. And you
When
know
we're
what? I know
wrong,
I
we
know I was wrong.
apologize. You
I,
know, yeah, exactly. Accept it and move on. And then, man, that's why. And it's not for me. It's not even a big deal. Like I was just trying to fill in the dead air. That's it. I didn't want any space where people are sitting and they're watching and then there's nothing happening. So that's all that was for me. But I mean, I'm okay, man. Like you said, life happens. Things happen, man. I had I've had times where I've been podcasting. So I podcast from my house, right?
right.
And I saw something out the corner of my eye 'cause I have my window open,
Man.
my backside door. I thought somebody was in my yard, and I
Okay.
thought I was gonna have to get up in the middle of a podcast to go address that. But apparently the wind was blowing hard, and I think the trees had caused a shadow, and it made it look like somebody was.
We can't be Mayweather all the time fighting in the match and telling the commentators who you gonna bet for. Oh, I'm betting for this. People asking me questions,
Uh,
they expect me to still answer. Like my life is still going.
but you
People,
know what, though,
you
man,
know,
life is about
it
adjusting.
don't matter if you're doing an interview. It don't matter if you're in a recording booth.
Uh
You
huh.
got somebody there that wants to know.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, you know,
Life is about adjusting. You have to expect the unexpected. You have
no
to be prepared.
negativity. Just be. That's real life.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, I'm not sweating that. That's no big deal at all. So all right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to another picture. Okay. So this is gonna be a picture that you haven't seen already. So I want you to just tell me exactly what it is that you see when I put this picture up. I'm going to be sitting over here taking notes, and I'm going to try to do the same things that I did with those other pictures, but this time just without preparation.
Got you.
Okay. All right. All right. So tell me what you see here.
It gives a demonic feeling.
A demonic feeling. What
Little
about it?
claws at the top.
You said what?
It gives it like a demonic feeling.
What would you say about the top?
Little claws at the top.
Claws.
Like you see
Okay.
the little fingers at the top. It looks like little claws. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you could look at it. And I see a cross now in the
You see a
middle,
cross.
a line down, and it kind of
Right.
looks. It reminds me of a cross. So, no,
Okay.
what tells me on this picture is no matter how much things get demonic,
Hmm.
realize you have somebody that's there to help you get through that.
Okay. Perfect. So tell me this then. Um, has your life have you felt like you've been pulled in two different directions?
Yes,
You got the battle of good versus evil.
and
And
that's the key of life. That's what we're here for.
uh-huh.
You got to pick a side.
Right.
Can't. My father talk. He was cutting my hair one day. He was looking at my tattoos. He was like, "Can't straddle the fence." He always says like 4 or 5 words, but
Hmm.
it means it'll mean like 40 or 50 words later on, or
Right.
500, or
Right.
can't straddle the fence. You're either going to be good or you're either going to be bad. Can't
Right.
straddle the fence. You have to pick a side. Either you're going to
Right.
be either it's God or it's Satan.
Right. Yeah. There's
Who
no
you
gray
who
area.
you rolling with?
There's no gray area unless you want to spend the rest of your life in purgatory. But there's, you got to make a decision. So, um, I I get it. I get it, man. And for the longest time, it seems like Satan was there and he could have been God in the way, but it's like God was with you the entire time and
Right.
was like, I'm going to allow you to go through these things because you have to go through them because there's a much bigger picture. But the
Right.
entire time that you're going through this, I'm going to protect you.
And
So
that and
God
the
was
whole
there protecting you
yes,
in the midst of the hell that you were dealing with, in the midst of Satan and the things that he was throwing at you. But God was still there protecting you. And because he knew that you had to go through these things to get to the place where you are now so that you could stop other kids from going through these things.
exactly.
You
And they have
essentially,
no clue it's coming.
right. And the thing is this, with the things that you're doing, and I don't know if you've ever looked at it like this, but and just from me talking to you, I know you're humble, so you may not even want to accept this title, but you are a hero.
Thank you.
You really are a hero because you're saving these children,
Thank you.
saving them. You're keeping them from making the decisions that could essentially lead them to
The wrong,
jail or to the grave.
the wrong path. Right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no problem, man. And but a lot of that comes back from this picture that we just saw. That struggle, good versus evil. You
And I
made your
just realized that right here. Right
hmm
here.
yeah. Yeah. You made your decision to you had to go through hell, but
Right.
you have reached your heaven.
You have to go through hell to receive any kind of benefits in heaven.
Right, right, absolutely. Okay. Well, man, listen, this has been an incredible interview, man. We're gonna wrap up soon, but before we do, I want you to promote everything that you have going on. Just let them know everything that you have.
Well, we got the
Yeah, and
music.
how they
We
can
got
get in
some new,
contact with you.
we got some new music out. SB. Man, you definitely have to tap in with SB. He's an incredible artist, man. He's a great reflector on life, and man, he's a credible artist. Check out SB. That's Shane Bell. Check out his page. You can find his page on my page. I'm gonna put the links all in the description. You know, I'm
Hmm.
gonna send you everything.
Okay.
Check out my music. Definitely anonymous.
And now, where
Go
can
in
they
and type
find the music?
anonymous, and then all my stuff will pop up.
And so that's on YouTube.
Man,
And
check out. I got a couple more artists coming too behind me. They're cannons, man. They're cannons.
so, but where can they find the music? Is it YouTube? Is it
I'm gonna make
SoundCloud?
sure they find it on this video.
Huh?
I'm gonna make sure they got it. I'm gonna make sure they can tap in.
Well, let's tell them because everybody won't
Okay,
click on
so
the link or look for a link. So
go
let's
to
just
go to
tell them.
my YouTube. You can type in you can type in anonymous, and you know what? Type in anonymous faded. Listen to that. That'll give you the link to everything.
Okay. And you said faded?
Faded.
FADED?
FADED.
Okay. Okay.
Faded.
Cool. All right. What about the organization that you have with the children? Is there a way that people can connect
Now, or you have to tap in. You have to tap in with me to get to that.
Okay.
So you can hit me on my Instagram, AnonOBNB,
Hmm.
um, or Anonymous BNB. You can hit me on Facebook, Mike Brummel. If you want to tap in with the youth,
Hmm.
it's always a place for everyone.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, man. That sounds good. Do you have any new music coming soon?
Well, I just did one called Live and Exist, and you can check that out on YouTube. That's doing real good. So I'll have
Yo.
something in a couple of days, man. I have something new in a couple of days.
Okay. But by the way, that song "Living Exists." Not only that, there was and then the other song that you played for me. Um,
Game of Death.
yes, the Game of Death. So I am very, very. I'm a lyricist, so I listen with my lyricist ear.
Right.
And oftentimes, if I don't hear the person speaking or if I don't hear enough creativity, then I start to shut down. And when you
Right.
played your music for me, I was blown away. I said,
Thank
this is
you. Thank you.
phenomenal.
Yeah, I seen your express. You was like, that's a breath of fresh air. That's exactly what
It
you said.
is. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, man. I appreciate your lyricism and I appreciate
Man, I
your
appreciate you, man, taking your time out to deal with me, man. I'm not an easy person to deal with, man.
trust me, you've been easy to deal with, man. I've dealt with a lot of difficult people in a lot of difficult situations. This wasn't hard.
Look, I ain't got no cut. I'm doing this raw. This is the raw me, man.
Yeah,
No,
no.
no makeup. No, look, if I was to scan the room, you'd be like, man, you need to clean. Boy, you need to clean that room up, man.
So let's not scan.
Yeah, let's not scan. But it
Yeah,
was a
no,
pleasure,
man.
man. It was a pleasure. We're gonna do more interviews, man. This was I like this.
Yeah,
I like this.
definitely, man.
It's
Definitely.
different.
It was cool, man. Also, man, I appreciate the message in your music too.
Okay, thank you, man.
I
Thank you.
really appreciate that. And so for everybody listening, that it is definitely worth checking out. So go check that out. Go to YouTube, Anonymous Faded. And then you'll be able to find and then all of your your Instagram
And when they
handle.
get past faded, they could go to live in existence.
Yeah, living existing. Yeah, absolutely. Two
That's
very
up to like almost 10K in 2 days.
yeah, very deep, very powerful songs. Very powerful. So yeah, man. All right. So before we get out of here, I have one more picture that I want to show you, and I want you to tell me exactly what it is that you see. Okay.
All right.
All right. Yo, where'd you go? You still
I'm
there?
right here.
You see the
This,
picture?
this podcast is dope. Okay. I
And I
like that.
couldn't agree more. And you scared me for a second. I was like, yo, what happened? Did he change
No, I'm waiting for the picture, right? I'm like, okay, am I supposed to just say this? I like
it?
that.
I got you. It could have been a little delay in the picture, man. That's
Right,
sorry.
right, right, right. I like, yeah, this podcast is dope, man.
Man, thank you. And I couldn't
Thanks to
agree.
you, man. So salute to you too, man, and
I
all
appreciate
your work.
I really appreciate you, man. Yeah, thank you. And for the rest of y'all, y'all be easy.
Peace.